Sometimes you just gotta praise the Lord all by yourself. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Ramon, most definitely in the building, coming at you live on this Wednesday night. I just left a Bible study and I came home because I have to get into part 2 of last night discussion. Last night, what's going on? My sister see me photos in Micheline. What's going on? United Brokers. What's going on? Sister Daniette. Last night, I was talking about the promised land. What's going on? General biology. Last night, the topic was about the promised land. Are you really ready for the promised land? Are you prepared to obtain something that has already been promised to you? And do me a favor, because you need to share this to some people. Let me share my I can share my thing on Facebook. I'm sharing it on Facebook because apparently I'm blocked off of Facebook. But as you come on, would you please be so kind to hit the share button? Because I promise you, the next few minutes of your time, I try not to go over 20 minutes. I like to get it in and get it out. Just to talk about yesterday, Abraham was given a promise that he was going to take him into the land that was flowing with milk and honey. Not only was he going to take him to the land, this is the land where they're going to be fruitful and they're going to multiply. Long story short, after Abraham, and then came Isaac, and then came Jacob, none of them stepped foot in the promised land. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, then comes along Moses. Now, Moses, he comes in as a Hebrew who was raised in the house of Pharaoh, who was an Egyptian king. Not only was Moses raised in a house, but he, when he found out what he was, what his bloodline was, he went back to where he came from, and Moses became the deliverer. So Moses was the one to carry the children of Israel out of Egypt to get them, to bring them to the promised land. But guess what? Moses did not even step foot in the promised land, right? So when it was all said and done, God will always raise up somebody else to get the job done. And so the time came whereby Moses told him, hey, man, look, I need for y'all to go scout out the land, right? But I'm going to come back to that part right there, because now I'm talking about after Moses came, he didn't walk in the promised land. It was Joshua, the son of Nun, who got the people in a promised land. On yesterday, we discussed this, that he said, Moses, my servant, is dead. I'm reading out of Joshua chapter 1. He said, therefore, the time has come for you to lead these people, the Israelites, across the Jordan River into the land that I am giving them. What you have to understand is that everything that you want, everything that you desire, it is already yours. But there has to be some conditions that have to be met before you can obtain that which was already given unto you. Let me go a little deeper. After God told him, he said, man, look here, bro. I promise you what I promised Moses. Wherever you set foot, you will be on land I have given you. No matter what it is that you take care of, that you do in life, it's yours. When you go buy some property, when you open up a business, when you do whatever it is, it's going to prosper, no matter what it is that I give you, right? He said, from the Negev wilderness into the south of the Lebanon. Look what else he said. No one will be able to stand against you as long, watch this, as long as you live. Now, for I will be with you as I was with Moses. I will not fail you or abandon you. Now, here's the Lord telling Joshua all of these things, right? He said, man, look here, bro. No matter what it is that you do, I'm going to be there with you. Everywhere that you go, I'm going to make sure that you straight. The Lord telling Joshua this, right? He said, be strong and courageous, for you are the one who will lead my people to possess all of this land. Watch this. I swore to their ancestors I would give them. He goes on to say, man, check this out. Look here now. Look, Joshua, be strong and very courageous. I'm going to stop right there. Now, here we have the Lord admonishing. He telling Joshua all of these things. What's going on, Beachwood? And second line short, what's going on? He said, be strong and very courageous. Now we get to the meat of the matter. Now, God telling Joshua, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do woo. I'm going to do all of these things for you. Now I get to this point. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to prosper you wherever you go. I'm going to open up doors that no man can shut. Everywhere your foot touch, I'm going to open up the doors. I'm going to bless it. Then he gets to this point. After he just said all that, right? It gets good. I'm telling you, the word is good. He said, be careful to obey all the instructions Moses gave you. Now, wait a minute now, Lord. You just told me a little while ago, you just told me that you're going to get me everywhere. And I'm all happy. You done bucked me up. You're going to say, man, look, I can everywhere I walk, you're going to prosper it. Everything that I do, you're going to prosper it and all these things here. But now you get to the point you said, but I have to obey all the instructions that you gave to Moses, right? Not only do I have to obey all the instructions you gave to Moses, you said do not deviate from them, turning either to the left or the right. Now, I was happy a little while ago, Lord, because you said you was going to give me all of these things. You told my mom and them, you told my dad and them, you told my parents, my great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, great-great-great-grandparents, and so on and so forth. You done told them all these things here. And now you telling me, because they dead right now, they done died, they done passed along. And now you saying, but I have to obey all of the instructions. And you said, do not deviate from the instructions. Don't even go to the left or the right. Because, you know, one thing, I told you I got your back. So you don't have to worry about going to the left or the right. All you have to do is go forward. Then he said, then you will be successful in everything you do. Wait a minute, run that by me one more time, Lord. You just told me that you gonna give me all this land. No one will be able to stand against me and all of this stuff here. You ain't gonna fail me, Lord. Lord, you're telling me all this stuff here. Everywhere my footstep, I'm gonna be good. You telling me all this, but then you tell me about the you had me excited for a second now, Lord. And now you didn't open up a whole nother can of worms, right? I was excited about doing it, and now you're giving me these conditions that have to be met. You said, wait a minute, you gotta obey the instructions. You have to obey the instructions, and then you will be successful in everything you do. You see how that went? I'm going to do whoop-de-woo. I'm going to do such and such. I'm going to open up doors no man can shut. I'm going to bless you in multiple businesses and property and deeds and keys and land and all of these things. And then you're going to be successful. Then he goes on, he says, I'm just paraphrasing from what I talked about yesterday before I go on to tonight's discussion. He said, study this book of instruction. He talked about the instructions that Moses gave. He said, study this book of instruction continually. He did not say study the instructions on one day out of the week. He did not study the instructions 2 days out of the week. He did not say study the instruction once a month, or every 6 months, or once a year, you know, when everybody wants to open up the book on Easter. He said, study continually. But Lord, you just told me all of this stuff here that you're going to give me. Now you're giving me conditions that need to be met before you bless me with everything. He says, study this book of instruction continually, meditate on it day and night so you will be sure, right? I want you to study it, but I need for you to meditate on it day and night to be sure that what you're studying, that you will obey everything written in the book or the instructions. Then he says, only then will you prosper and succeed in all you do. This is my command. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. You understand? Now the Lord had told Joshua all these things. And this is where a lot of people get it confused, because he said, man, look, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you that, just like we do our children. We tell our children we'll do a whole lot of things, but when our children become rebellious, we're not going to give them nothing. Well, I was about to reward you with a couple of new video games, but because you was insubordinate in school, I can take that back. I'm not going to give you anything because you did not meet the conditions, right? I know I was going to go open up this or do that, but because you ain't obeyed by the rules, I can't give it to you. I know you in the NFL and you're gonna be a starting, you're gonna get the starting position, but you get caught up in some buffoonery. No, I can't. We can't have that on the team. Or the NBA, we can't have that because you didn't meet the conditions, because you did not read the instructions, you did not read the book. And so he said, study. Why do I want you to study the book of instructions continually? Why I want you to meditate on it day and night? Because when you meditate, when you study, you will be sure to obey everything in it. Now, need I remind you, Moses was promised the promised land, but he did not get into the promised land. Somebody else. Because what you don't do, God gonna raise somebody else to do it for you. When you be disobedient in one thing, God wants you to do something, hey, he'll raise somebody up to do it. If you're not careful in this season, we're in the second month of the year 2022. And if you are not careful in this season, you can abort what you have been called to do. Don't miss that. You can abort it. You can abort it. You can abort what you've been called to do. So Lord, what's going on? Now you tell me this, you tell me that, you telling me all of these things, but then I got conditions that need to be met, right? I got conditions. So let me go back. Let me go back a little bit. Because when God came to Moses, now, years prior, children of Israel left Egypt, they got to the wilderness, they wandered around in the wilderness for about doggone 40 years, for a journey that probably took them 7 days, took them 40 years because of their murmuring and because of their complaining. It's in the book, it's right there in Exodus. And so he said, man, look here, man, check this out. You have dwelt around this mountain long enough. I mean Deuteronomy 1:6. So you have dwelt around this mountain long enough. It's time for you to move forward. This is a word for somebody. You've been hanging around the same mountain too long. It's time for you to move forward. It's time for you to move forward out of depression, move forward out of anxiety, move forward out of these insubordinate relationships, move forward from these negative people, move forward out of the hell and all of the hell that you've been going through. It's time for you to move forward. It's time for you to go get what God had for you, because the reality is he gave you the land of the promise. God has given each and every last one of us the land. He gave us every single thing. But the reality is that nobody don't want to walk in it and possess it. See, that's the difference, right? You have to possess it. He's not going I gave it to you. I gave it to you. But before you take possession, you need to obey the instructions. I gave it to you, but you got to obey the instruction. You dwelt around this mountain long enough. Now, this is the same land that was promised to Abraham, promised to Isaac, promised to Jacob. Then it came along Moses. You understand me? And not Joshua. And so I'm going to go back to Moses, because before Moses, when the children of Israel got out of Egypt, watch this, because they're for somebody, right? Before they got to the land that was promised, watch this. The Lord our God commanded us, we left Mount Sinai and traveled through the great, terrifying wilderness. He's telling the story. As you yourself remember, headed toward the hill country of the Amorites. When we arrived at the Kadesh Barnea, I said, you have now reached the hill country of the Amorites that the Lord our God is giving us. The hill country, the Amorites, that was the land, part of the land of Canaan, right? Which was the promised land. Look, he has placed the land in front of you, right? Now, this is the land that God was giving to the children of Israel. He said, man, look, I'm placing this land. Everything you see before your very eyes, this is for you. I am giving you this land. But look what he said here. Go and occupy it as the Lord, the God of your ancestors has promised you. Don't be afraid. Don't be discouraged. Don't miss that. Because first of all, God told him, behold, look, this is everything that I have set before your very eyes. Everything before your eyes is yours. Now what I need for you to do is go occupy it. See, there's a difference between going looking at the land, but then taking possession of the land. But he said before taking possession, he said go occupy the land, right? But you all came to me and said, first, let's send out scouts to explore the land for us. They will advise us on the best route to take and which towns we should enter. So the land of Canaan was, it's a piece of land, but you got different parts of the land. So before the children of Israel entering into the land, they said, man, we need to get some scouts together and go out there and scout out the land and see what's over there, right? So it seemed like a good idea. So he took 12 people to go out there, 12 people to go out there from the 12, one person from each of the tribe. They headed for the hill country and came to the valley of Eshcol and explored it. They picked some of the fruit and brought it back, and they reported, the land the Lord our God has given us is indeed a good land. The land that God gave them, what's going on, my brothers, brother? The land that God gave them, it was good land. The scout said, this is some good land that God has given us. The land that we are living in is some good land that God has given us. But let me go a little further. But you rebelled against the command of the Lord your God and refused to go in. First of all, the Lord gave them the land, but then after they spied it out and saw that the land was good, he said, you rebelled against my command because I told you go take possession of the land, but you rebelled. You complained in your tents and said the Lord must hate us. That's why he has brought us here from Egypt to hand us over to the Amorites to be slaughtered. Now, the Amorites was not normal people. The Amorites were giants. It was a land of giants, right? Look what it said. Where can we go? Our brothers have demoralized us with their report. Tell us, the people of the land are taller and more powerful than we are, and their towns are large, with walls rising high into the sky. We even saw giants there, the descendants of Anak. But I say to you, don't be shocked or afraid of them. The Lord your God is going ahead of you. He will fight for you, just as he saw him do in Egypt, and you saw how the Lord God cared for you all along the way as you travel the wilderness, just as the father cared for his child. Wait a minute. Here the Lord gave them the land. You understand me? The Lord gave them the land. He said, go occupy the land. But then they rebelled because they didn't take possession of the land. They got scared because they had giants in the land. What are the giants that you face? Giants of fear. Giants, negative giants, those negative thoughts of people downgrading you. What's stopping you from possessing what God already gave you? Giants in the land, depression, anxiety, giants in the land, abusive relationships, giants in the land, all type of insubordination, giants in the land. What giant is stopping you? Financial giants. What giants is stopping you from possessing what God had for you? Because if the giants in the land, if God told you that it's yours, you need to take possession. You need to take ownership of the land. Let me tell you something. Listen to me. You think because they got giants in the land that there's something God will allow greater and taller obstacles in your life in order for you to get to the place that he has promised you. You think they just had some giants back there? We got giants living amongst us today. And people scared to possess what God has already given them. The word said, he said, man, I'm giving you the land flowing with milk and honey. You're walking, too many people walking around in a land flowing with milk and honey, but ain't nobody possessing it. They got a very few people possessing it. How you know those people possessing it? Because ain't nowhere in the world you're a child of God. You should be living in lack. The reason why a lot of people living in lack, you can't talk about, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. The devil in hell is a liar. Don't allow no people to speak into your life. You're the head and not the tail. You're above and not beneath. You're the lender and not the borrower. The land is yours, but you have to occupy it. Do not be afraid of the giants, because fear will stop you from your possession. Fear will stop you from possessing the land. Fear will stop you from possessing the land. We all got to go through the wilderness. It's a test where there's no one else to call on but God. We living in the times that we living in right now. People scared to go outside. People scared to walk down a block. People scared to drive up the interstate. People scared. The first thing you can do to a person to get them afraid of you is fear. And so now a lot of people scared. But God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of peace and love and a sound mind. People scared to go outside. No, take possession of the land. God has already given it to us. But until you possess it, because even though he gave the children of Israel the land, they have to go and occupy and possess the land before they can take control of it. So Moses didn't walk into the promised land, because the people around him was murmuring and complaining, and then he started murmuring and complaining. So he couldn't get into the land of the promise. So guess what God did? Raise somebody else up. See, when you're reading the word, everything is symbolic of something. You got to understand what's going on here. Moses didn't walk in the promised land. Abraham didn't walk in there. Isaac didn't walk in there. Jacob didn't walk in there. Moses didn't walk in there. Joshua, he raised up a whole nother generation. The old generation got knocked off because there was a bunch of murmurers and complainers. What are you murmuring about today? What are you complaining about today? Are you complaining about the violence that's taking place in your neighborhood? Are you complaining about the violence that's plaguing your city, not only in the city of New Orleans, but to and fro across this nation? Are you complaining about it? Complaining will not help a situation. You got to get up, get out, and do something about it. You got to take possession of the land. Giants are all over the place. But would you scared of a giant? Are you scared of a giant? You understand? You scared of a giant? If you scared, no, they used to say you're scared, go to church. Nobody don't want to go there no more. Because some of them ain't even right. Some of them ain't right. No, people say they're scared, go to church. Nobody know. People running from the church now. They're running from the church. In order for you to take possession and claim what's rightfully yours, first of all, you got to do away with fear. I'm sorry. The Bible even talk about it. For my church folk, ain't no cowards getting in heaven. Ain't no cowards getting in heaven. People talk about Jesus. Jesus wasn't no pushover. They have a place in the Bible. Jesus went in the temple and he made a whip and whipping the people out there, throwing the tables all over there. Man, what's wrong with y'all? Man, y'all done lost y'all mind. Y'all been up in my father's house. Y'all in here gambling and doing all this stuff here. Jesus wasn't no pushover. He was a carpenter, so you know he was swole, dreadlock swinging. He wasn't no pushover, and he had a posse that's with him all the time. And all of them couldn't go with him to the mountaintop. Come on. All of them couldn't go to the mountaintop. People talk about the land of the promise. Are you really ready for the land of the promise? Are you really ready to take possession of what's already yours? Don't miss that. It's already yours. But you have to take possession. You have to take possession. You have to take possession. You cannot obtain anything without taking possession. You have to take ownership. The things that's happening in your neighborhood, crime occurs in every neighborhood where people allow it to happen. People allow it, and they don't want to talk about it till crime come knocking on their door. Until homicide hits their household. Then everybody want to talk about why nobody ain't saying nothing. You ain't taking no possession. No, you can't go in English Turn. You can't go in Eastover and do it. You can't go in Lakeshore Estates. You can't go and eat out. It ain't going to happen. Why? Because people taking ownership. Man, you ain't going to do that in my neighborhood. And it's out of control. It's time for the people to raise up or get on out the way. Stop complaining. Tighten your belt up. You understand me? If you're going to do the work, do the work. If not, move on to the side and let people who are going to do the work do the work. Because there's still some people out there who's not afraid of giants. There's still some soldiers out there who's not afraid of no giants. And guess what? God is raising up a generation of thugs. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, that means some thug don't fear nothing. You understand? Thugs for Christ. No fear. Who shall I fear? The Lord is my light and my salvation. Who shall I fear? Who shall I be afraid? You understand? Will you put your trust in him? As he said, man, look here, check this out. I need for you to lead these people, the Israelites, across the Jordan River into the land. I'm back in Joshua. No one will be able to stand against you as long as you live, for I will be with you as I was with Moses. I will not fail you or abandon you. Be strong and very courageous, but you have to be careful to obey my instructions. Be careful to obey my instructions. Study my instructions. Continually meditate on my instructions day and night. As I talked about it yesterday, I talked about that word meditate. The English word meditate comes from the Hebrew translation of ruminate. It's when a cow, like a cow chewing cud. You don't have to take my word for it. You can Google it. Cud. A cow chewing cud. What it is, the cow constantly regurgitates back up what he ate hours prior. So whenever you see the cow mouth moving, when he's not grazing the pasture, the cow is actually regurgitating back up what he had already ate. So that's that's called ruminate. That's called meditation. Because in order for you to regurgitate back up, you have to meditate on that. You have to meditate on the book of instructions. Trust in the Lord with all our heart and lean not unto your own understanding. Acknowledge him in all of your ways, not some of your ways. He will direct your path. You understand me? That's a word. Regurgitating the word back up. Delight yourself in the Lord. He will give you the desires of your heart. Asking you shall receive. Seeking you shall find. Knocking the door will be open unto you. Humble yourself under the mighty hands of God. He will exalt you in due time. In the beginning was the word was with God. The word was God. The same was with him in the beginning. Without him, nothing was made that was made. And the word became flesh. We beheld him as our only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. I'm regurgitating the word back up. Be ye not conformed to the things and the cares of this world. Be ye transformed by what? The renewing of the mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable. Why am I able to speak the word? The book is closed. Because my constant day and night study, meditation. Because the day will come where I wouldn't have possession of a book. It's time out for playing church. It's time for you to take possession of the land. If you either you're gonna take possession of the land or the giants gonna consume you. You're gonna take possession of the land or the giants will take over. Giants of doubt, giants of fear. Remove the giants out of your life. Name calling, backbiting, slandering, and all of this stuff here. Remove the giants. Negativity, anything negative, that's a giant. Abusive relationships, that's a giant. Financial or status, or you're not handling the financial right, that's a giant, financial giant. What's stopping you from going higher? Because when you're talking kingdom, no child of God should be in lack. If they're in lack, that's somewhere along the line, they need to go back to the manufacturer and check it, right? And reset it back to default and start over and get it right. So that's my little thing right there today. I said 20 minutes. I went a few minutes over. But listen, if my name is Ramon Carter, if you're not, follow me on YouTube. Just follow me on YouTube at Ramon Carter. Ramon Carter on YouTube. Thank God for you all. Facebook, I can't do videos on Facebook or something like that. I have the podcast gonna be coming soon and everything. Do me a favor, click the link in my bio on Instagram. I have all of my digital books there right now, $4.99. If you want to get a copy of my digital books, I have Prepare, Life of a 3-time Convicted Felon, Reflections of the New Testament. I have another one of my books that goes along with the workbook. This is actually a black and white copy, but it's called The Power of Transformation. Applying 12 Kingdom Principles to your life. I don't get on here, act for nothing or whatever. You want to sew or whatever, order one of my books. Order one of my digital copies. Also, I have my next shipment of my Royal Culture bags. They're coming up. That's my own brand. Then I'm pushing, and it's only getting better. I just been focusing on the bags lately for the past year. I've been focusing on the bags instead of the gear, which I will step it up a notch. Once I get back from Africa, I'll be going there in a minute. But the bags, I have a shipment of bags that they will be coming in. You can also click that link in the bio because pre-orders are already in for the Royal Culture bags. This is one of the blue bags right here, the Royal Culture bags. Look in the inside. They have fur, whatever it is in the inside. They have pockets all over there. That's a blue bag. I have a black bag. I have a red bag. I have a brown bag. I'm waiting on the sling bags. This is a sling bag. You see that? The sling bags should be coming before summer. But that's about it. I thank God for you all for rocking out with me. The promised land. Or do you really want to possess it? That's about it. Don't just like it. Share this this to your feed. Share this to your story. Share this to one of your friends or whatever. And maybe it's going to help somebody. Don't just like it. Share it. And give me a comment. Whatever it is that you like or if you don't like it, let me know. And I'm all for it. When we know better, we do better. Y'all have a super fantastic day. My YouTube family, thank you. And